And as you guys are now getting into the carrying stuff, when you actually then carry things or drag things backward, look at that position you're in right there. So like for my kids, they'll be strong backward, they'll be strong there. They'll be, if you take a kid who's dragging stuff backward there and can handle their body weight here, they wouldn't need the data I showed, but it could be useful for them to help other people.
So, I mean, we're not going to talk about this right now. We will talk about it soon, but part of your zero program is sledding, correct?
It's like an optional, simply going backward is like an optional warm-up to what I just showed you there, which is, that's the formula.
Okay, gotcha.
Because you could be in your apartment and you could just start getting that circulation.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways you can carry. Something I've been getting into a little bit more is just some single arm carries. Just, you know, doing stuff like this. And I realize not everyone has access to this, but it's kind of fun to show some cool stuff, and you can kind of figure out whatever ways you could probably actually load up a gi with some sand and you could probably like just grab a hold of it or whatever type of thing you can think of. But I just like doing this, and I'll walk with this. Or you can do something similar with kettlebells. I have something a little different than a kettlebell. I have these grip bells. And I like to just do, you know, just a weighted carry. What are these, was it a suitcase carry? Was it the guy that we had on the show that was taking credit for inventing the...
Dan John.
Dan John, yeah. So actually I'll usually use the heavier one. I'll show you this one over here. I'll take this guy, 75 pounds. And what I'll do, because you're trying to work your grip, trying to get some work through your traps, you're trying to get some good work through your core. So I'll actually kind of go here, do a couple reps, and then I'll start to walk with it. I might even stop, do some reps here, boom, boom, and then keep going. It's almost like I'm just trying to get my core to just get extremely fatigued, which it already kind of is because I did a bunch of these the other day. And just different positions. While I'm doing this, I can get down lower or whatever. And then I just try to finish up. Starting to really feel it in the grip and the traps. And so you could pick up anything. It could be a plate. It could be a dumbbell. Whatever you have access to. There's really not too much to be cautious with. I think that you are okay if you're leaning. But if you start to lean excessively and round at the same time, you're trying to walk and you're just in a screwed up position, just try to pick maybe a little bit more appropriate weight. I do think that in the beginning, you should be able to kind of level it off and hold it a little straighter, but I see nothing wrong with having a little bit of bend in there.
Carrying is such a good capacity because it's something that is a necessity. You're gonna pick up and carry things everywhere. But it's more so actually a necessity in places that aren't the United States or areas that don't have as much transportation. So like when you go to other countries, when you go to countries in the Middle East, countries in certain areas in Africa, certain areas even in Asia, right? People carry things from one point to the other. My grandma told me stories of having to carry her books miles to school, having to carry water and food from her village back home for miles. So they had to traverse with weight. And one thing that you see, actually before we even get to that, I think one good thing you can either do this in school or you can do this on your walk. And this is something I do on my walk every single day, is I'll take a training sandbag and I will load it. Now, people already ruck. Rucking exists. So you have those rucksacks, you can load 40, 50, 60, whatever type of poundage. Military guys know a lot about carrying. But the main reason why I like carrying things in terms of like using the training sandbag is because of the ways that you have to adjust your body for the load when walking for long duration. So this isn't just walking across a gym. This is walking for 2 miles. This is walking for maybe 3 miles. If you're gonna carry 10, 20, 30 pounds, how do you have to adjust the load against your structure for miles on end? It's annoying. But the thing is if you learn that, number one, the thing you were mentioning about not like having this crumpled structure, if you learn how to, and this is why you don't start with 3 miles, maybe you start with like half a mile, right, with much lighter load, but you have something that you can load on your body, and let's say you load it on your shoulder, well, you're not just gonna slump and walk like this. That's gonna have major compression. You're gonna compress your nerves. You're gonna cause massive problems. You have to learn that you have to press your shoulder and your scapula into that so you can bring space to these areas, and then you can walk efficiently. But the thing about this is that after maybe, who knows, 3 minutes, this is gonna get sore. How do you adjust? You move it to your other shoulder. Boom, you can walk another 5, 6, 8 minutes. Okay, this is getting kind of heavy. How do you adjust? Move it to the other shoulder? You could. Or you could come to this type of gable position and walk like this, right? Where you're still having to interact with this with your body, and you have to move efficiently through space with a weight. Again, you could do this on a walk. You could take your kids on a walk and they could have some light things to carry. You could carry something. It's not something you have to look at as a workout. It's just learning how to move with weight through space for long periods of time.
I first started hearing about transcriptions from Thomas DeLauer.
Yep.
And, you know, Thomas is somebody, it's an animal with working out. You got a chance to work out with him. I worked out with him. And he's kind of always on the front lines of like, you know, finding out about these new companies that have cool things. But I didn't really realize that Transcriptions was the first company to put out methylene blue. And now look at methylene blue. It's so popular. It's everywhere.
It's one of those things. If you guys listen to this podcast, you know I'm very iffy with the supplements that I take. Because there's a lot of shady stuff out there.
You got to be careful.
The great thing about Transcriptions is that when people want to get methylene blue, usually they'll go on Amazon, they're going on these other sites. It's not third-party tested. It's not dosed. A lot of people end up with toxicity from the blue that they get because there's no testing of it. Transcriptions, they have third-party testing for their products. It's dosed, so you know easily what exact dose of methylene blue you're getting in each troche. So you're not making some type of mistake. There's not going to be anything in it. It's safe.
You can have it dissolve and you can turn your whole world blue if you want, or you can just swallow it. They have two different types of methylene blue. They have one that is, I believe, dosed at 16 milligrams, and they have another one that's dosed at 50 milligrams. So make sure you check the milligrams. I don't recommend anybody start at 50 milligrams, but the 16 I feel is very safe. You can also score the troches and you can break them up into smaller bits.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And in addition to that, on top of the methylene blue, they have a lot of other great products and stuff as well. They got stuff for sleep. They got stuff for calming down, all kinds of things.
I gotta say, I use it about 2 or 3 times a week. I use it before jiu-jitsu. And the cool thing that I've noticed, and I've paid attention to this over the past few months, is that after sessions, I don't feel as tired. So it's almost like I've become more efficient with just the way I use my body in these hard sessions of grappling. And it's like, cool, that means that, I could go for longer if I wanted to, and my recovery is better affected. It's pretty great.
I know Dr. Scott Schur, we had him on the podcast, and he talked quite a bit about how he recommends methylene blue to a lot of the athletes that he works with.
Yeah.
And they're seeing some profound impacts. And one of the things I've heard about it is that it can enhance red light. So those of you doing red light therapy, or those of you that have some opportunities to get out into some good sunlight, it might be a good idea to try some methylene blue before you go out on your walk or run outside or whatever activity it is that you're going to do outside.
And this stuff is great, but please, first off, they have that stuff for staying calm. They have stuff for sleep. But remember, this stuff isn't a substitution for sleep. This isn't a substitution for taking care of your nutrition. This is supposed to be an add-on to all the things that we already should be doing, and it's going to make things so much better if you're doing everything else too.
And I think this is just a little different too than just adding some magnesium to your diet. I think this is a little different than... Yeah. Treat these things appropriately. Make sure you do some of your own research. But
if you're taking medications, SSRIs, you better talk to your doctor first. Don't be popping these things.
And if you're taking any medications at all, it'd be good to double, triple, quadruple check and make sure that you're safe. Transcriptions has a lot of great things that you need, so go and check out their website when you have the opportunity. Strength is never weakness, weakness never strength. Catch you guys later.
But the funny thing that I don't think people maybe realize a lot here is that the most efficient way to walk with any type of load is something that people have been doing for centuries, and it's head loading. So you would take the load, you would stack it at the very top of your structure, and as you talked about, you don't just crumple under the load. If I relaxed my neck, right, that would cause major nerve damage. But why is it that in other countries, women are carrying 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 pounds overhead, walking for miles, up hills, getting water and all these things, water that sloshes back and forth, but you see them just walking so well? It's extremely efficient. But the thing is what my neck is doing is my neck is pushing into this bag. I'm getting my neck tall. I'm elongating my structure into the bag. This is something I could walk like this for 30 or 40 minutes without getting tired. And the funny thing is, as I was telling Ben, your neck isn't the thing that gets sore. The thing that gets sore is the middle of your back. this is where you'll get sore. Now, this, like, again,
We need that built up for squats.
you know what?
That mid back for squats and deadlifts is
This is
amazing.
another way you can carry.
Yep.
Right? The axial loading of the spine is how we squat generally. But it's very rare that anyone in the United States does head loading. And head loading is the truest form of compressing your whole body from the skull
Is
to
this
the
where
feet.
you're going to tell people about your 300-pound hat?
No, but this is the thing.
Oh, they can't order it yet.
This can strengthen the whole body. And again, on a walk. So let's say that this could be, if you guys have, like, sometimes kids have a track at school and they do walks during the day. If somehow kids had a light load, let's say, hey, just carry this 5, 10, 15, whatever. And kids could pick the load, right? Let's say they wanted to pick up a 30-pound sandbag and carry it while they're around the track 3 or 4 times. And then they grab something lighter, but they walk with load for duration, right? So not for just for like across the room, because strong men do this. They just walk with a yoke, but it's very high intensity, low duration, right? And it's very tense because they can't let anything move. But if I'm walking with this, I can literally walk around this whole gym very, very quickly while keeping this in balance, while strengthening my whole structure to be able to handle this type of load, to fight against this. And it's very rare that you teach the whole body. Like I have that neck program on the ATG app. We're doing these isometric things, but that right there, that gets the neck and everything else with movement through space. You learn how to coordinate the body with load. So that's why carrying is an essential part of what I do. I take that bag and every day it'll be a minimum 1 mile, at most 3 miles. But I will carry something every single day because it forces the body to learn how to adjust. And if I want higher intensity, I'll take my 140-pound bag and maybe I'll go with 1 mile and that's the day I'll push myself. Thing is, I can drop the bag, do other things, pick it up, walk with it. So it's not like you have to carry it the whole time. You can put it down, move around, pick it up.
You could do it with one of those water jugs that everyone has at their house where they're, refilling their waters.
And of
you can do it
course-
with anything, and you can do like a side carry like
you
that, where it's
mentioned.
kind of in the way of the legs. And
Right.
you got to sort of
Boom.
figure out how to manage it.
Right? You can carry things in so many ways, but the cool thing is the adjustments that must happen as you're walking for a long duration. You have to bring it here, you have to bring it here, you have to bring it here.
The reason why I
you have
can't
to bring
sneak
it
in
here.
some reps is some curls too while you're doing
You can, seriously.
This is gold. I'll give you, so as a learner and observer, this is gold for me in training my students. So I'll give you my recap on like exactly how I'm going to use that data with them.
Let's go.
Number one, the variety is nice for kids. We're talking about, my kids are 3 and 4. So I got a long time. So I come from the background of trying to get therapy to the knee. So Louis Simmons invented a sled. Charles Poliquin, Olympic trainer, extensively used backward sled with Olympic athletes who were going to miss the Olympics because of knee problems. But this was like gentle enough for the knee to get it stronger. Well, with my students, and I make sleds, okay? It's actually too hard to have enough sleds, get the weight set up. It doesn't work on every surface. So when I make gyms, boom, what first thing I put in? Turf, sled for the students. Sleds don't always slide the same on grass, but you can drag. So if we take the sandbag, boom, get different size sandbags. So not only, and that's our third category today is actually like pulling things.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about carrying things with just sandbags and kettlebells, because with the kettlebell, I can get people here for the squats, and I can easily get, like from Rogue, lots of kettlebell. I can have 10 kettlebells lined up and then train a bunch of students. For me to use something, I almost have to be able to set up 10 of it easily and relatively affordably. So I can get bags, fill them with the sand, which is relatively affordable. As I showed, the sand, $7 per 50 pounds here in California, where your latte costs more than that. So it's basically one latte per 50 pounds, depending on where you live.
Very challenging too, just to walk with stuff overhead.
Yeah, so let's get
it's
that
another
one.
great practice.
So let's get that one down. Yeah, if you were just going for sheer the most weight you could lift, so for the ankle, I would have people walk forward and backward with 2 kettlebells. Then what I noticed from you guys is getting into the core stuff, 1 kettlebell. You're also gonna see, since I've been playing with the kettlebell stuff, I've noticed I don't have to do any maintenance work for elbow pain because I was a psycho growing up with shooting and doing push-ups, so I had just like nasty elbow pain. The kettlebell and also ring work, which we'll cover in the pulling, rings and kettlebells is elbow therapy in itself. And then you have stuff getting up like he was showing with the sandbag. So if someone only had kettlebells, you can still this is still like the single kettlebell
Yep.
is doing stuff. And then as he was showing with the sandbag, so the sandbag carry or the kettlebell carry for now getting up in there. And then I think the head thing is, I didn't even notice which way you had the thing.
So
I was watching. I didn't notice if you were this way or the other way.
Yeah, I was that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, this.
Push your head into that.
Yeah, it
And
naturally,
relax.
you naturally are like trying to stand
Yes.
tall, and even basketball guys who tend to be tall and skinny, they actually need the neck work. They're used to coming down through. This was an old Charles Poliquin thing with basketball guys. They need actually some neck work because they're the ones most likely to be like
over.
this. And then of course with the football guys and stuff, we're talking about life-changing stuff because the stronger the neck, it does help the concussions.
Yeah.
Nothing I've shown you, whether it be for the knee or the neck, is absolute protection, but it's just more ability in these areas, less difficulty with the demand. So mainly for the 2 arms, I'll have my people go forward and backward because it's more load on the legs and the lower legs. Then with 1 arm carry and or sandbag, they can just go forward. They could go backward, but that's more getting into here, and then you have on the head for the neck. And then and if carrying is only every other week, that's just gonna stay fun. And then if it's the strongest kid in class versus the weakest kid, is still gonna have that achievement of getting around that track.
Yeah.
Even if they take breaks and more
And
than
there's
that.
also no reason why, I was doing this years ago. It's the start of my weight loss journey. There's no reason why you can't just walk when you're doing exercises with dumbbells.
Yep.
You're doing overhead, you're doing lateral raises, you're doing curls. There's absolutely no reason why you can't just go on a walk down this driveway, walk back, and then maybe switch to something else. And the same thing with your kids. You can have them do all these different exercises. And then they might not be able to all do them at the same time, but you have those kids doing that, and you have other kids working on sandbags. You have other kids. You have like stations, the way I had to do it, because having 30 or 40 people at one time is super crazy.
Yeah, for me it's
challenging.
like I set up 10 slants, 10 of it. That's why the rings, I can set up a bunch of rings, bunch of slants.
Yeah.
Then they're having a great time. But now with sandbag kettlebell,
It also doesn't have to be uniform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like one kid could have a 30 and he's messing with it and it's a little heavy for him. Another kid could have a 20.
oh yeah, I set up different weights with
Right.
the kettlebells. And same with the sandbags. I would have like different weights there.
I want to add in just a quick note of safety for the head carrying because it is actually, again, people,
new.
light
Yeah.
women, it's not even new, light women do this all across the world.
I just
without
mean new
struggle.
for people listening.
Exactly,
Yeah.
new for people lifting. So what I want to say is first, when doing that, don't load it heavy initially. Don't try to freaking put 60
Like
pounds on
this
your
actually
head.
feels good. How much is this?
It's like 58 pounds.
This
feels good.
This feels good. It can't be that heavy, but
Yeah.
it's probably less than that. But maybe start at a weight that actually feels good. Do the workout and
Could
then
be
like
20
make sure you're not
pounds.
too sore after, like something like that.
Exactly. Could be
Like-
20 pounds. It doesn't need to be 30, 40, 50. Don't try to push load on this initially. Because again, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing this all our lives.
Yeah.
So what I want to be able to do is maybe put 120, 150. That might take me a year and a half, 2 years. I'm not going to do that right now. This needs to be easy. I need to be able to do this for a few miles, which I can now. So I'm going to slowly increase. Second thing is push the tongue lightly against the roof of your mouth when you're doing this and any type of neck work. Okay, it'll activate certain musculature in the neck. So if you push your tongue towards the roof of your mouth, what do you notice when you do that?
Pretty strong.
Any type of neck work you do will be stronger when you push the tongue slightly towards the roof of your mouth. So keep that in mind. And the last thing is, and you don't have to do this the whole walk, but Ben, I want you to now clench your jaw a bit and push the tongue to your roof of your mouth as you're walking.